Okay, so let me tell you something that happened in my family that I still can't fully wrap my head around, even now. And I need you to stay with me till the end, because the way this whole thing unfolded, I promise you, you are not going to see it coming. Not even close. It started on a Tuesday. I remember because I had just come back from grocery shopping, and my mom called me into the living room with this look on her face. You know that look, when someone is trying to appear calm but their hands are doing that thing where they keep smoothing their clothes even though their clothes are already smooth? Yeah, that look. My dad was sitting on the couch, and they both had this energy around them like something had already been decided. Like I was being called in to be told something, not asked something, and that right there should have been my first sign. They sat me down and told me they had made a decision about the family money. Now let me give you a little background so you understand what that actually means. My parents had spent 35 years building everything they had. My dad ran a small construction company, nothing flashy, but steady. My mom managed rental properties on the side. Together, over decades of working and saving and not splurging on vacations or fancy cars, they had quietly built up something real. We are talking about their house, 3 rental properties, savings, and a business that was still bringing in decent money every month. Conservative estimate, somewhere around $2.5 million in total assets, maybe more. That was their life's work. 35 years of early mornings and late nights and skipping things so they could build something for the future. And on that Tuesday, sitting in the living room with the TV on mute in the background, they told me they'd decided to give all of it to my sister Mary. Not split it, not divide it among the family, all of it, to Mary. Just Mary. I sat there for a second, just blank, like my brain needed a moment to catch up to what my ears had just heard. I asked them to repeat it, and they did. Same words, same calm faces. My mom even smiled a little, like this was good news she was sharing. Like she had just told me we were getting pizza for dinner. Now let me tell you about Mary, because you need to understand who we are talking about here. Mary is my younger sister by 4 years. Growing up, she was always the one who had a way with people. Charming, quick with a smile, the kind of person who could walk into a room full of strangers and leave with 10 new friends. She could talk, and I mean really talk. She had this gift of making you feel like she understood you completely, like she saw you. People loved her for it. My parents especially. She had always been their soft spot. That's not me being bitter. That's just the honest truth. She was the baby. She was sweet, and she had a way of making my parents feel like they were her whole world. But here's the thing, and I'm telling you this because it matters to what comes later. Mary had a habit, a pattern. She would get really excited about something, throw herself into it completely, get my parents emotionally invested in it too, and then it would just collapse. There was the boutique she was going to open, the online business that was taking off, the investment opportunity she had found through a friend. Every single time my parents had quietly helped her out. A few thousand here, some more there, and every single time the thing fell apart. But because Mary was Mary, she always had an explanation that made sense. And she always made you feel like the next thing was definitely going to be different. So when my parents told me they were giving her everything, their entire fortune, I already felt something cold sitting in my stomach. Something that wasn't just jealousy or hurt feelings. Something that felt more like fear. I asked them why. My dad said Mary had come to them with a plan. A real one this time, he said. She had connected with some people, a group of investors, and there was an opportunity to take their assets and grow them significantly. He used words like portfolio management and diversified strategy. And I could tell these were words he had heard recently and was now repeating. My mom said Mary had shown them documents, contracts, testimonials from other people who had already made money through this group. And there it was. That cold thing in my stomach got heavier. I tried to talk to them. I really did. I asked questions, basic ones, like who were these investors? Was this registered anywhere? Had they talked to their own financial advisor? My dad got quiet in that way he does when he thinks you are challenging him. My mom said I was being negative. She said Mary had worked hard to put this together, and it hurt her that I couldn't be happy for the family. And Mary wasn't even there that day. She had already gotten what she needed and was nowhere in sight. I left that house feeling sick. I called my cousin that night and just talked for 2 hours, because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have any proof of anything. Just a bad feeling and a pattern I had watched repeat itself for years. But this time the stakes weren't a few $1,000s. This time, they had handed over everything. The next few months were strange. Mary would call every couple of weeks, always upbeat, always with little updates about how well things were going. My parents seemed happy, lighter, almost, like they had made a decision and felt good about it. I tried a few more times to ask questions, to suggest they get an independent opinion, but every conversation ended the same way, with me feeling like the difficult one, the unsupportive one. So eventually I stopped bringing it up. I kept my distance a little and just watched from the edges, hoping I was wrong, hoping my gut was just being paranoid. And then, about 5.5 months after that Tuesday in the living room, my mom called me and she sounded different. Not upset exactly, more like confused. She said someone had come by the house asking questions. A man. Professional looking. He had shown her a badge and asked if he could speak to her and my father about some financial transactions. She said she had told him she needed to call her daughter first. She meant Mary, but Mary wasn't picking up her phone. I drove to their house that same evening. When I got there, my dad was sitting at the kitchen table with a piece of paper in front of him. He looked older than the last time I had seen him somehow, like a few years had settled onto his face overnight. My mom was standing by the sink, not really doing anything, just standing there. I sat down and asked them to tell me everything from the beginning. The man who had come by was an FBI agent. He had left a card. He was part of a financial crimes unit, and he wanted to speak to them about a network of fraudulent investment schemes that had been operating for about 2 years across several states. The name of the organization Mary had connected them with, the one she had brought the documents and testimonials for, was on a list of entities currently under federal investigation. My parents had already transferred the titles to the rental properties. The savings had been moved. The business accounts had been reorganized under a new entity that Mary had set up, which was now also part of the investigation. I want to pause here for a second and just say, I have replayed this moment so many times. Sitting in that kitchen, looking at my parents' faces, seeing my dad's hands on that piece of paper. Because what you have to understand is that this wasn't just money. This was their identity. Everything they had poured their adult lives into was sitting in those assets. Their retirement, their security, their proof that the hard work had meant something. And in the space of 6 months, it had been moved, reorganized, and was now tangled inside a federal investigation that neither of them fully understood. My mom asked me very quietly if I thought Mary had known. And I didn't answer right away. Because that was the real question, wasn't it? Was Mary a victim of the same people she had brought to my parents? Or was Mary something else entirely? Over the following weeks, the FBI agents came back twice more for longer conversations. My parents got a lawyer. And slowly, piece by piece, the picture started to come together. The investment group Mary had connected them with was real, in the sense that it existed. It had a website, an office address, and a stack of very convincing documents. But it was a front. The people running it had done this before, in other cities, with other families. They targeted older couples with significant assets and used a referral model, meaning they needed someone on the inside of the family's trust circle to make the introduction, someone the family already believed in. That's when things got very quiet in our family, because when the FBI laid it out like that, the referral model, the insider, the person who made the introduction, there was only one name that fit. The investigators told my parents that Mary had been brought into the scheme as what they called a connector. She wasn't the one running it, but she had knowingly, and this word knowingly is the one that keeps staying with me, she had knowingly introduced my parents to these people in exchange for a cut of whatever assets could be transferred. She had been promised a percentage. She had signed something. There were messages. My dad didn't say anything when they told him. He just nodded slowly, like some part of him had been waiting for that sentence even though he never wanted to hear it. My mom cried. Not loudly, just tears running down her face while she sat very still, and that image is honestly one of the hardest things I've ever witnessed. Mary was arrested about 3 weeks later. She'd apparently tried to reach out to the people running the scheme when she realized the investigation was closing in, and those messages also became part of the evidence. She hadn't run. I don't know if that says something good about her or she just had nowhere to go. Her lawyer later argued that she had been manipulated herself, that she hadn't fully understood the consequences, that she had been promised it was all legal. Maybe some of that is true. I genuinely don't know what is real inside Mary's head, and I'm not sure I ever did. What I do know is that my parents lost almost everything. The legal process to recover assets is slow and brutal, and there are no guarantees. The rental properties had been transferred and then some of them resold through a chain of transactions that is now an absolute nightmare to untangle. The savings are gone. The business has been limping along with a temporary manager while everything is sorted out legally. My parents are in their late 60s. They had planned on retirement. They had planned on having something to leave behind. Instead, they are working through a federal legal process, living more carefully than they have in years, and trying to figure out how to have a relationship with the daughter who did this to them, or who allowed this to be done through her. Or both. The lines are so blurry and the hurt is so deep that some days none of the distinctions even matter. I have thought a lot about what I could have done differently. Whether I should have pushed harder those first few weeks, whether I should have gone and done my own research into these investors, and brought something concrete to my parents instead of just a feeling. I don't know. My dad told me recently, and this almost broke me. He said, I should have listened to you. Just like that. Simple. And the thing is, I didn't want to be right. I would have given anything to have been wrong. Mary's case is still ongoing. She is out on bail, living in a different city. My parents have not spoken to her directly since everything came out. I have spoken to her once, briefly, and I will be honest with you, she sounded more like someone trying to survive a situation than someone who felt genuinely sorry. Maybe that changes. Maybe people find their way back to themselves after something like this. I don't know. What I want you to take from this, if you take anything at all, is that the most dangerous thing is not a stranger with a bad offer. The most dangerous thing is someone you already love, holding open a door you would never open for anyone else. My parents didn't get robbed by criminals they didn't know. They got walked in by someone who had been at their dinner table for 30 years. Trust is not a character flaw. My parents are not stupid people. They are good people who loved their daughter and believed in her. And those two things got used against them in the worst possible way. And the hardest part of this whole story, the part that keeps me up at night even now, is that I don't think Mary started out wanting to destroy them. I think she walked into something thinking it was finally her big moment, the one that was going to work out, the one that was going to make her the success she always wanted to be. And by the time she understood what she'd actually gotten into, there was too much to undo. That doesn't make it okay. None of it is okay. But it makes it sadder than just a simple story of greed. It makes it a story about a family, and how the cracks that exist in a family for years can suddenly become the exact places where the worst things get in. If you are sitting there right now, and something in the story is making you think of someone in your own life, someone who is maybe getting you excited about an opportunity, asking you to move money, introducing you to people who have just the right answers, please just slow down. Ask the questions. Get outside opinions. Do not let love make you skip the steps that exist to protect you. Because love is precious, and it is real, and it deserves to be protected too, including from the people who carry it. My parents are okay. They are not where they thought they would be at this point in their lives, and some days are harder than others. But they are together, they are healthy, and they still have us. That is what we are holding on to right now. That is what we are building back from. And that, I think, is the only kind of fortune that nobody can ever really take from you.